So GPU prices have been fluctuated wildly since the second half of last year. Do you think the high inflation rate is one of the major factors in this case?
Not by much. The inflation hasn't had that big of an effect. Inflation's been between 5 and 7%, and most of that's been in fuel costs. But the import taxes that were added, which are 25%, and that happened a little over a year ago, that's been the biggest increase. And I think consumers don't realize, in the United States, they don't realize, is that they're paying that tax, not the Chinese government or the US government or any other government. It's the consumers themselves that are paying that. And so if they're complaining about high prices, what they're complaining about is this burdensome tax that's been put on us.
Then what are the main reasons that GPU prices have been increasing so much?
Okay, so consumers don't buy GPUs. What they buy are add-in boards for a desktop PC, or they buy a laptop that has a GPU already installed in it. So just to be clear, the GPU starts out as an independent semiconductor, and then it gets put in a system and other things get added, and that's called value add, and software gets put in and things keep getting added up to come to the final price. So when the final price arrives at the consumer, there's been several steps involved in it. So if I could just describe that process, perhaps it would help. So the GPUs, the semiconductor, they go from the fab, which would be like TSMC or Samsung, people like that, or Intel soon, to board fabricators. And the board fabricators then put the GPUs either on the motherboard for notebooks, or they put them into add-in boards that go into desktops, workstations, and servers. The board fabricators, companies like Foxconn, right, you're probably familiar with them, they then ship to two types of customers. They ship directly to the OEMs like Dell and Lenovo and HP and people like that, or they ship them to what are called add-in board AIB partners. And these are companies like, they're mostly in Taiwan, EVGA, MSI, Asus, other companies like that. Those ABI partners then sell to the consumers either directly from their webpage, or they ship product to Amazon or Baidu or Alibaba or what have you, those online distributors or Newegg, people like that. And they also ship them to retail stores like Best Buy in the United States and Alibaba again, and Gome and people like that in China. So the online distributors and the retail shops are the ones who have raised prices. So it hasn't been the AIB builders, it hasn't been the OEMs, and it hasn't been the GPU makers. It's been done at the far end where the consumer is involved. And that's happened because of supply and demand. If there's a lot of demand, the people who have a product for sale will raise their prices, and they'll keep raising them until the demand falls off. Right? So that's called elasticity. That's just started to happen. So one of the things that triggered this supply-demand imbalance was that scalpers and speculators built bots, little software bots, and these bots, like spiders, roaming the web all the time, looking at the inventory levels of the online distributors. And as soon as they spotted inventory, they bought it, right? And now they own it, and the inventory goes to zero. Now, if a consumer comes and he's or she's looking to buy a board, there's no inventory. But then what the scalpers did is they then offered these same boards they just bought for 2 or 3 times the manufacturer's recommended price. And there's where the price has gone up. Well, the distributors and the deal and the channel guys saw this happening, and they said, hold on, we'll raise our prices too. And they did, and they followed it up. Now, the scalpers and the speculators were motivated by miners. They thought that the miners would pay anything to get these boards because the miners thought they were going to get rich doing hashing. What they didn't anticipate was that some major governments, China being one of them, and Kazakhstan being another one, said, time out, we're not allowing this mining anymore. So just shut it down and stop. When that happened, the miners stopped buying those boards. Now the speculators were left with those boards, and they were trying to find customers for them. and put them out on eBay with big prices, and slowly they kept dropping the prices. The distributors followed that, the channel. They said, okay, the prices are coming down, we have to come down with it. So that's where we are now. We're in a slowly drifting down price situation. It's expected, everybody's got a crystal ball, they're looking at the future. It's expected that prices will get back to somewhere normal by the end of third quarter. Maybe yes, maybe no. The only thing that could change that if there was another interruption in the supply chain and demand again started to go up too high. So bottom line is that no demand, prices come down. It's the law.